Massive fires have ravaged neighborhoods, dust storms have blackened the sky, and lakes are rapidly shrinking.
We ask, Lord, for that abundance of rain.
Texans have literally been forced to their knees seeking relief.
You bring that rain, we will rejoice at dearly, Father.
It's hurting terribly.
For lifelong ranchers like 82-year-old Marvin Whitty, the dry spell has meant having to sell off animals. He's down to about 80 head, half his normal herd. One of the reasons? Several of Whitty's water wells are bone dry.
That's devastating when you're without water on a farm, you know. Gosh, animals need water, people need water.
Whitty blames the lack of rain, but he also suspects something else might be at play: the oil boom. After all, he lives in Karnes County, Texas, in the very heart of the Eagle Ford Shale. Oil production here has skyrocketed in just a few years, thanks to hydraulic fracturing. It can take nearly 6 million gallons of water per well to pressure oil out of the shale, fresh water. And while fracking only uses 1% of the water used in the region, much of it comes from the same sources nearby residents depend on: the underground aquifers feeding their private water wells.
They are hydraulically fracking right now.
Here in Karnes County, veteran oil man John Broadway showed us this hydraulic drilling operation in progress, one of 151 local wells that have been fracked.
These are the fresh water pipes bringing in from a central place where they have a well and a real large reservoir.
Broadway has been in the oil business here since the 1950s.
Never in the past on any of the oil booms was water a factor. It is a big factor this time.
This is an historic drought by all accounts.
Yes.
Bad news if oil companies are using all this water?
It pulls the water table down, and with a drought and as much water as they're using, there will be problems in landowners' water wells.
Geologists say that could be what is happening at wells like Marvin Whitty's.
We didn't have this problem prior to the commencement of the oil drilling.
So they're taking a lot of water, these oil companies.
Yes, very much. You know, we can live without oil, but we can't live without water. We have to have water.
And that water itself has become a hot commodity. Some landowners are cashing in by selling it to the oil companies, which in turn are laying down new water pipelines as fast as possible.
We drill a lot of wells.
And water well drillers like Thomas Moy Jr. are smiling big. Moy says his 70-year-old family business has shot up more than 40% in the last 2 years, thanks to hydraulic fracture. So this isn't only an oil boom, it's a water boom.
It's a water boom.
Tanker trucks will come and fill themselves up with water, take it to the location wherever the job is.
David Blackman of El Paso Oil and Gas says the industry needs a lot of fresh water, storing it in reservoirs for ready use.
Well, it certainly is an issue for this area because we're in a drought.
But Blackman says the industry is unfairly blamed for using more than its fair share of water.
It's a lot of water, but when you put it in context, it's really very sustainable.
In fact, according to the Texas Water Development Board, water used for fracking is small compared to major users like farms or municipalities. But Alyssa Bergen, who runs the environmental group the Texas Drought Project, says the state can't behave as if fresh water will remain abundant. What happens if there isn't rain over the next few years?
Texas dries up and blows away. That is really not too absurd a thought.
State climatologists predict the current drought could last until 2020. At the same time, as drilling increases, state officials predict the amount of water needed for hydraulic fracturing may increase 700% over the next decade.
I believe hydraulic fracturing is a very big threat, particularly as it expands.
But there are some potential solutions in the works. Oh, that's kind of ugly. What is that?
That's oil primarily floating on top.
Brent Halderson of recycling company Fountain Quail says that 20% of frack water comes back to the surface and it can be treated and reused.
We just go where the need is the highest. And right now, due to the drought, the need is very high right here. So we want to be here helping the industry succeed.
Fountain Quail is the first recycler to enter the Eagle Ford. So new, in fact, we were shown its $10 million system still in the testing stage.
If we can make recycling part of the equation, bring more sustainability into the entire big picture, I think it's a win-win for all involved.
At this one facility, about 210,000 gallons of water a day are being recycled, a small fraction of the water consumed by fracking. But for Texans like Marvin Whitty, every drop counts.
Water is everything. You know, money and oil is good, but water is the best thing we have to survive.
Of course, the best solution to the drought comes from the beautiful blue but cloudless skies above.